All right, this lesson will be short and sweet. I'm going to split 10-6 up into two sections to kind of give you guys a little bit of a breather here. I know we've been going kind of hard this week, especially those first two sections being kind of difficult. So I'll split 10-6 up into a couple smaller chunks. That way, it's not so bad. You get a little shorter day today, hopefully, because I think what we're doing today is super easy. Shouldn't have much difficulty at all with today's half. So if you're busy tomorrow and you want to do the second half today, you probably have time to do it all. Otherwise, if you want to just do the first part, take a little break, maybe just watch the second part of the video and then come back to it tomorrow, watch it again, that's fine too. But 10-6, the first part of it's going to identify different conics based on the equation. So we have our standard forms here. So just to recap the different kinds. So this one, you'll notice there's a plus, right? And then you notice you get the a squared and the b squared equals 1. So first of all, it can't be parabola because x and y are squared. It's not a circle because you got a and b. It's not an ellipse because you got plus. So this would be an equation, it's not a hyperbola because it's a plus. So this would be an ellipse. This one, notice there's no a and b here, so you should recognize that as a circle. Also the plus and the r squared are kind of giveaways. This one, x isn't squared, so since one of them isn't squared, that would be a parabola. And then here, when we got the minus sign with the y's and k's, that's a hyperbola. So you'll be identifying those. Again, not too hard. So just going over these examples. So the first thing you should notice is y squared, but x is not. So boom, that tells you it's a parabola. Not too hard to figure out there. This one, x is squared, y is squared. So that tells you, okay, it can't be a parabola. But then let's get our x's and y's to one side, because in all the other equations, the x's and y's are on the same side. So if we were to simplify that and get the x's and the y's on the same side, we're going to have 16 x minus 1 squared. The 9 comes with it, so minus 9 y minus 2 squared equals 144. Now, right now, since we have the minus, that should be a dead giveaway. It's a hyperbola. If you're wondering how it would look at the end, we would divide everything by 144, which would give us x minus 1 squared. Set C. 16 goes into 144 9 times. And then, so the other one would be over 16. Y minus 2 squared equals 1 is how the final equation would look. But right here, you should be able to tell it's a hyperbola. And that's the only answer I'm looking for today. Just tell me what kind it is. Next one, again, we want to get our x's and y's all to the same side. So we would have 16 x minus 1 squared plus 16 y plus 4 squared equals 81. So the plus should tell you it's either got to be ellipse or a circle. If you divide everything by 81, okay, then we're going to get, let's see, 16 goes into 81. Does it even go into 81? No, it doesn't. It goes into 80. But either way, you notice you get the same numbers on both sides. So let's say we divided everything by 16. We would get x minus 1 squared plus y plus 4 squared equals 81 over 16. Okay. So here you see it's a circle. There's nothing, left over on the bottom here when you divide by 16. They're the same thing. So that would be a circle. And then finally this guy, process elimination, you might be guessing ellipse, but obviously it is. You got the plus, you got the a and b, so you're good. This is an ellipse right here. All right, so that's when they're kind of in standard, what's called standard form, or at least close to standard form. When they're in general form, when they're written out with an x squared, an xy, a y squared, an x, a y, and then a constant, we have a formula we use. It's b squared minus 4ac. So b is always the xy term. A is always the x squared term. C is always the y squared term. Okay, so you don't really need to worry about these too much over here. So if b squared minus 4ac is less than 0, so notice both these are less than 0, it's either a circle or an ellipse. So to tell the difference, if b equals 0 or a equals c, it's a circle. If not, it's an ellipse. If b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0, it's a hyperbola. If b squared minus 4ac equals 0, then we have a parabola. So let's go and look at some examples. So here, a is 4, b is negative 10, c is 5. Okay? So when we do b squared minus 4ac, I'll write it over again here. Okay? What we end up with is negative 10 squared minus 4. A is 4, C is 5. We get 20. 20 is greater than 0. So since b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0, we have a hyperbola. All right, next one. B squared minus 4ac. So remember, the b is always the xy term. So negative 15 squared minus 4. A is our x squared term, 8. C is our y squared term, which is 6. So when we do that, we would get 225 minus, let's do quick maths here. 48 times 4, 200, 192, which equals, let's see, 8 and 25, 34. So greater than 0. This one's also a hyperbola. Finally, this one, you got to be a little careful. It can be a little tricky because we're missing the xy term. So when we do b squared minus 4ac, since there's no xy term, it's just 0 minus 4. A is 9. C is always the y squared term, which is 9 as well. So that's going to be 81 times 4. So let's see. 80 times 4 is 320. Oh, I better use a calculator just to be safe, or you guys are going to make fun of me if I get it wrong. Let's see. Boom. 81 times 4. I don't know why I doubted myself. 324. Which doesn't really matter because we know it's going to be negative. So if b squared minus 4ac is negative, if it's less than 0, it's going to be one of these two. So one thing we can look for, okay, is b equal to 0? Let's look. B was equal to 0. Yes. So that means that we have, oh, sorry, it says and. I forgot the and. Is A also equal to C? Yes, it is. They're both 9. So yes, it is that first example of a circle. So the difference is, if it were an ellipse, it has to be either B doesn't equal 0, which, I mean, obviously isn't true, or A doesn't equal C, which also wasn't true. We had both of these true, therefore it was a circle. All right, so there we go. Like I said, we're breaking this up into 2 assignments. So for right now, just do 1 to 10 on the 10.6 worksheet, and we'll finish up the rest tomorrow.